10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 390. Hey, everybody, Happy New Year, and welcome back to episode 390 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Hope you all had wonderful holidays and are ready to get 2024 kicked off with some brand new jazz education materials. So, before we dive into today's show, I wanted to talk about a few changes that I'm going to make for the better, I think. I have been thinking a lot about what are the things that are really, really going to move you forward in terms of your playing and your abilities. And what I want to do is I want to shift this show a little bit from delivering information to you to making you do something that might be hard for you each and every week. So, we're going to try that for a while. And I think a lot of you are really going to enjoy it. And instead of just having, a stack of PDFs, you're still going to get some materials. But what I'm going to give you week to week is actually going to be a doable challenge, if that makes sense. And I want to start producing more interactive materials for you. So instead of a bunch of PDFs that you just kind of look at and file away, what you'll find is maybe some recordings with trading tracks where you and I will trade back and forth. Or if I ask you to play a particular sound, I'm actually going to give you an assignment to play that sound, and I'm going to help you along the way with my saxophone and not just, a written chart or something like that. And I figured the way that we could get this kicked off this month, the month of January, is by looking at a really simple tune and forcing you to actually do something really simple with it. But sometimes doing simple things are actually the hardest things because we like to reach for all the stuff that we know, or maybe we have a few things that we can do with a really complicated concept. But really, if I were to ask you to do the most basic thing, you might actually be lost with that. So, we're going to kind of come at things from a different angle, try something new. I think after 380 something episodes, it's time to try something new. And my mantra for myself and all my students this year is going to be to take action, to do the thing where the rubber hits the road. And you're not just collecting a bunch of information, but instead you have to do something with a small piece of information. And we're going to try to put that into action. And I think it's really, really, really going to benefit all of you. So, just a note right up front that things are going to be a little bit different. And you might notice things changing. And if you're part of the Patreon group, you may notice that there's a few less PDFs and things written out and a little bit more of an assignment for you with some trading tracks or demonstration tracks and stuff like that. So I hope that this will be of benefit to you. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all about, right? Is like actually getting you results and having you play better solos and be more confident in your musical abilities and be able to use those abilities in more situations and actually get you out of your practice room and into the real world and give you the confidence to play with other people. And I think that this is definitely going to do that. So here we go. New thing for the new year. Before we dive in, just wanted to remind you that this is a listener supported show. So people support us through the form of a small monthly donation on the Patreon platform. You can find that. You can find all the materials from this episode and all the other episodes that we've ever done by going to 10minutejazzlesson.com, clicking on one of the Patreon banners, or going to patreon.com and searching for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. And since we've been off for a week, I have a whole bunch of people that have decided to join up to the Minute Jazz Lesson family. So I wanted to give them a quick shout out before we dive into the stuff. So thank you to all of our new patrons: Todd, Bill, David, Craig, PC, Will, Stephen, Jason, Adam, Matthias, Anja, Emily, and Chris. So thank you all so much for joining. And if you'd like to join, just go over to patreon.com, search for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, and become part of the family today. All right. So this week is going to be actually a very, very simple assignment. Okay. We are going to this month study a tune called Sweet Sue. And this is a classic jazz standard. It was played a lot by the likes of Django Reinhardt and a lot of the more trad musicians. And it's a really simple tune, like really simple. And the instructions for this week are going to be very simple instructions. The first one is going to be that I want you to learn the melody by ear using a recording that I'm going to provide for you. Okay. So I'm going to play the melody, and your job is to not look up a lead sheet for this tune and to actually learn it by ear from my recording. So that's the goal. Before the next episode comes out, you must do that. Okay, so there's assignment number 1, and here is the recording of the melody so that you can learn it by ear. Remember, you are cheating if you look this up. You absolutely need to be able to learn a simple melody like this by ear. If you have to, listen to it a dozen times before you even attempt to play it on your instrument. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I really, really highly support that effort on your behalf. Listen to it many, many times before you attempt to actually play this on your instrument. But here it is. It's a 32-bar melody, very, very simple, and this is what you are going to be learning by ear. Now, if you're sitting there and you're grumbling, this isn't what I came for, I'm way too advanced for this, please check your ego at the door. That is something that I have to do all the time in my own playing when somebody tells me to do something simple. And most of the time, I am humbled by doing something really, really simple. So if you're looking for some super advanced concept and I don't want to do this, just do it, okay? And trust me that you're going to see some benefits out of this. Okay, here it is. All right, so there is the melody played on saxophone. The Patreon members will find that recording in Patreon so that they can download it and actually use it as an MP3. And the $5 members will actually find a different version of that where I actually play through the melody 3 times in a row so that you don't have to keep turning off the track and restarting it. You can just play it 3 times in a row, and I think that'll be really helpful. Okay, so there's one more thing that I want you to do this week, all right? You know how everybody always tells us to learn the lyrics to the songs that we're playing? And you know how most of us never do it? Well, this week, we're going to do it. These are really, really beautiful words. And not only do I want you to learn them, I want you to actually sing them. I want you to put on the backing track and I want you to sing them. And I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to sing them for you. This is not something that I would normally do, but in the spirit of let's all do this together, I'm just going to prove to you that anybody can sing this stuff and everybody should sing this stuff, even if you're a terrible singer like I am. So here we go. I'm going to sing Sweet Sue for you to prove to you that I'm doing it and hopefully give you a kick in the butt that you should be doing it too. Every star above knows the one I love, Sweet Sue, just you. And that moon up high knows the reason why, Sweet Sue, just you. No one else, it seems, could ever share my dreams. Without you, dear, I don't know what I'd do. In this heart of mine, you live all the time. Sweet Sue, just you. All right, so hopefully your ears aren't bleeding and, the dogs in the neighborhood aren't all howling along with me, but really, you should be doing that, right? I mean, you could hear I do not have a nice voice, but there's something different about actually singing the lyrics over a backing track or with a band, regardless of how you feel about it. That's actually going to make you learn the words. And what cool words those are, right? Just a really beautiful, simple song, both in melody and lyrics. So I want you to do that. Now, here's the best part about all of this. We have a Facebook group called the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Community. And that group is going to be a perfect place for you to actually post the results from doing this. So you could just turn on your phone, get a little recording of you playing the melody. And if you are brave enough, also post a recording of you singing the melody. Come on, I put myself out there. I want you guys to put yourselves out there as well. And I think really this action step of doing, okay, having something that is that we can actually accomplish, that is not like an entire subject in jazz, but instead is just something kind of fun and sometimes maybe easy to do, will be a great thing for us to actually start taking action this year instead of just collecting information that we'll use later. Okay, so those are your two assignments. Again, you'll be able to find the recording of me playing the melody on saxophone over on Patreon, patreon.com. Search for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Very small monthly donation, and you get to support the podcast and you get those materials. And it's just a lot easier to use them than going back and finding me playing it in the podcast episode. And remember, jump on Facebook, search for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Community Group, and get in there and post your results. Let's make a community effort out of this. Let's all cheer each other on, and let's all check out each other's results. So do not go look for a lead sheet. Learn the melody on your instrument, and then also learn the words and actually sing them with a backing track, or even better, real people. Okay, let me know what you think about this new format. I am really excited about it, and I think this is going to be something that's going to elevate all of us. It's going to be the rising tide that's going to lift all of our ships. So I'm excited about this. I'm going to do this as well. This week, I'm going to work on this melody and playing it more tastefully, and I'm really going to work on my singing because, as you all can tell, I really need some work on that. All right? We will see you all again. I hope you had a fantastic new year, really happy holidays, got to spend some time with the people that you love. And I'm really excited about taking the journey of 2024 with y'all. We'll talk to you next week with another new episode. Bye, everybody.